OITPC, Joshua Stewart, Pipe Up North. Well, I think I'm going to start out with a little apology. That last video, it was a little clickbaity. I'm not into all that, but it was kind of fun, so I had to do it. But that being said, it did generate a lot of discussion and got a lot of views, and which was interesting. There was a lot of the conversations in the comments about the addictiveness of the nicotine in the pipe tobacco, and I don't think anybody gave any indication that pipe tobacco nicotine is addictive, which is very interesting. Now, I don't know if any of the guys that are smoking, 10, 15 bowls a day, what it's like for them, but most of the people that commented are the little bit more, I would consider, moderate pipe smokers of not more than a couple bowls a day, like myself. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. And one other thing that came up in several commenters mentioned was that it seems like soda, which I guess I'd mentioned it in the video too, about soda being more addictive than pipe tobacco, which, yeah, I would probably agree with that. If I tend to enjoy my Mountain Dew soda. I usually have at least one or two a day, and if I had to go more than a day or two without it, I'd be feeling a lot different than I did 1 or 2 days without a pipe. So interesting with that. But today is Tuesday, and with the exception of last week, I've been doing the codger and a corn cob and tobacco tin Tuesday for quite a while now. So we're back at it. My corn cob this week, got a Missouri Meerschaum Country Gentleman, bent stem. And it, a half and half, which haven't had the half and half in probably a month, I'll bet. And yeah, that's right up there in the codgers for me. And I've probably smoked the most of Carter Hall of the codger blends, but I'm probably second most is the Captain Black Royal, and half and half is right up there too. But even at that, this is still my first pouch. I've got probably 1, maybe 2 bowls left in here, and I'll have to crack another pouch. Which I've got a pouch or 2 in the cellar, but then plus I think I've got 1 or 2 of the cans or tins or cans, buckets, whatever they are. not the big ones, the new, what are they, 7 ounce. But I think what I'll probably, maybe sometime in the next week or so, run up to one of the brick and mortars that they mostly cater to the cigarette and vape crowd, but one of them nearby has a couple of pipe tobaccos, and they've usually got some Captain Black and half and half on hand, so maybe just go buy a pouch there, give them a little bit of support. Yeah, half and half is good stuff. And oh, so as long as we're at it, we got the codger, the corn cob. Now it's time for the tobacco tin. And I know I've gotten a bunch of new subscribers in the last week or two, so give everybody a little update in case you're unfamiliar. My mother collected tobacco tins probably starting in the 70s, even though she never smoked. But she developed a pretty decent collection over the years, and when they moved and needed a downsize, she gave me her collection. So I've been on every Tuesday for the last several months, and probably a couple months to come yet, just sharing one of the tins from her collection. So today we have Epicure. Now, this tin isn't in the greatest shape. It's got a lot of surface rust, but it's pretty much readable anyway. Epicure shredded plug tobacco. There's a couple of interesting things here. One of the things is on the back side. Epicure shredded plug. Down here, not made by a trust. So I'm guessing this probably came out either shortly before or shortly after the. No, this would have been shortly after, because the United States Tobacco Company that made this is hard to read on the bottom there. But that was one of the spin-offs, I guess, when the American Tobacco Company got hit with the antitrust suit or whatever it was by the federal government and had to split up into multiple different companies. So this was one of them, the United States Tobacco Company. Now, I couldn't really find out any information on this Epicure blend specifically, but I think the United States Tobacco Company in Richmond, Virginia came about in 1922. So I'm guessing by that this tin is probably from the 20s sometime. Because sometime after that they moved away from Richmond, Virginia to, I don't remember what state it was, but so they're probably 100-year-old tin here. Now you notice it's got one round edge, one square or angled edge. I don't know if you can see that there, but this is a filler for pipe. So I imagine what it was intended to do When you open it up, you can just pour it right into your pipe. Oh, you got a price tag in there. I don't know how old that tag is. But there's another one on the bottom here with a different price tag. So, kind of interesting there too. So, neither one of these I recognize as my parents' handwriting. So, either one or the other of those prices is probably what my mom paid for it. Probably back in the 80s, maybe the 90s. I don't think, well, I think when eBay came about, she probably expanded the collection a little bit. So in the early 2000s, my mom and dad, they had an antique shop, and they were probably early adopters of eBay back in the late 90s. In fact, if I recall correctly, some of their item numbers were 6-digit item numbers for the stuff that they were selling. So, yeah, I want to say it was 98 when they first got on eBay, started selling. Those first couple of years, they did pretty well with it because at that time, eBay was kind of geared towards collectibles and things like that. Not as much like now when it's just anything and everything is on there. So, in fact, for a while there, they had the antique shop. Dad started the antique shop because he hurt himself when he was doing construction and couldn't do that anymore. He had a little handyman construction business, and got hurt, wasn't able to do that kind of work anymore, and so he got into he'd always wanted to have an antique store, so he started an antique store. Did pretty well with that for a while, and say that eBay got into that about the same time. Mom was working full-time at a different place, and eventually she quit that job to help out with the antique shop, and then they ended up hiring another gal like half-time to just kind of help out with the eBay stuff. But so that was probably close mid 2000s, mid to late 2000s, probably when they kind of backed off on the whole eBay stuff. It was just the fees were getting too high, and it just kind of seemed to be geared more towards new stuff rather than the antiques, and harder to sell stuff profitably on there. But so anyway, yeah, so this is one from Mom's collection, and just kind of look in there if there's any other interesting stuff. Yeah, filler for pipe and cigarette. I missed it on the bottom. So yeah. And the TAD was kicking in a little bit the other day again. Browsing on Ken Byron's site again, and saw he was restocking some things, so got a container of, or a pouch, or however you describe what he sells it, of Burley Morning Pipe. Now, I don't need pounds of it, but it'd be nice to have a couple of them on hand before it goes away, or hopefully it won't even go away, and he can find a new source for some of the component tobaccos so that it can continue. And I got I think some Van Gogh. I wanted to try that one for a while. I think I got one other one too. I don't remember. I think he'd commented in his community section, or whatever you want to call it, at one time that he might start carrying a few more tin tobaccos. So I was hoping to. I've seen that he's carrying some of the HU blends occasionally too, for the same price as everybody else. So I was gonna try to get some of those from him, but they were sold out. Which, oh well. I'd like to get some more Louisiana Broken. Start cellaring that a little bit deeper, but hopefully if they can keep that stuff in stock, that'll be, once all this stuff hopefully settles down a little bit, it'll be regularly available. I was thinking there's something else I want to talk about. Right, well, let me pause you for a little bit and collect my thoughts, and we'll get finished up here. So hold tight for a bit. All right, I'm back. I was only gone for a couple minutes here, but finished up the half and half. But guess all I was gonna probably say was that I'm still catching up on videos. I'm probably gonna miss a lot of them just because there's only so many hours in a day. But and in the big picture, watching YouTube videos isn't a top priority. So sorry. So anyway, oh, I remember the other thing now. Forgot it while I had everything paused there, but middle of winter like this is when I start thinking about what I'm going to do in a garden next spring. Just something to look forward to. And then usually February, March, I'll start some of the indoor seeds. Some of the real slow growing stuff I'll start in February sometime and get them a few months growing inside, and then transplant one. Probably usually it's end of May before we can really plant too much in the garden around here. But I wanted to try some more tobacco. I tried some last year. I didn't do very good with it. It didn't grow very well, and I only was able to harvest a couple of leaves. I haven't done anything with leaves that I harvested, but they were plants that I bought at a greenhouse. You know, we make an annual trip there every year, and they happen to have tobacco plants there last year, so I bought a 9-pack or whatever it was, and I only had one of the I only planted I think 3 or 4 of the plants, and only one of them actually kept growing till frost, and it only got, you know, 1.5 foot tall, maybe. I don't think it even got 2 feet, which I think they're supposed to get like 4 feet tall, and you know, pretty full. And this was pretty sparse, but so I wanted to try starting some from seeds this year, and I know a few of you other guys do it too, and just kind of wondering, where do you get your seeds from? So I might be interested in finding some, and I don't need pounds of it, obviously. I mean, I'll probably only plant maybe a dozen of each variety, and then transplant probably 2 or 3 of each. I'm thinking if I get 3 or 4 varieties to try this year, might be kind of fun. And hopefully I can give them more attention than I did last year, but because they got transplanted kind of late, and I think they're kind of stunted before they got transplanted. So, but if I can, you know, tend to them a little bit better this year, maybe I can make something out of them. But so yeah, if any of you have grown your own, and if you know a source of seeds that you can steer me on to, I might get if they have just like the packs, like you buy your garden seeds at wherever you get your garden seeds. See, I'm not planting a whole field of it, so I don't need pounds, but interested in trying it again anyway. So and with that, here's some of you guys towards the middle of the country been hit with snow pretty good over the last few days and stuff. So kind of different from here. We've gotten some snow, but we're probably less than average, quite a bit less than average at this point for the year. So I know, when was it a week ago when I went up north? That's a big area for snowmobiling up there, and they didn't have enough to run snowmobiles yet a week ago. So I know they got a little bit over the last week, but I still don't know if it's enough to run snowmobiles decent and keep the trails and stuff groomed and all that. But there's a lot of winter left, so I'm sure they'll still get some. But it was kind of nice when we went out. Well, yes, nice and not nice when we went out on the lake for ice fishing, because we didn't have to shovel a whole bunch of snow to get down to the ice to set down the ice shack. But at the same time, when we were walking out on the ice, it was slick because there was no snow coverage. But all right, oh shoot, running along again. But oh well, and obviously we'll keep the people in Southern California with their opposite of snow situation going on there. Keep them in our prayers, and hopefully they can get that whole situation straightened out and stuff too for them. But anyway, held you here long enough. This is Joshua Stewart, Pipe Up North. Have a good day.